Kasienosa, Iamoduni tir el Amir-Ali maraka ele, Kindrani mariasa maxim. E didi loquahe eska alas elamasa. Yani lingua nitir salimni ha udusi manitir ijem. Grace and greetings. I greet you from the realm of our ancestors. I greet you from the realm of our great mothers. I greet you from the realm of our great fathers. I greet you from the realm of our great elders. I greet you from the realm of the Ancient of Days and beyond. I am your messenger, Brother L, sent here to convey a specific aspect of language that is necessary and most conducive for our being if we are to be natural, lawful beings. That is my disclaimer. Commerce and contracts, family. Commerce and contracts. In the sense that everything on earth is commerce and contracts. Whether we agree to dig up a tree, take a plant out the ground, buy some gas, or order a pizza, or anything else in between, commerce and contracts. For example, everywhere a bullet, a rocket, a missile, a motherfucking bomb and everything else go, so does PepsiCo, so does Coca-Cola, so does Starbucks and motherfucking Dunkin' Donuts, cheese puffs and everything else in between, Taco Bell and whatever else you want to call it. The annihilation of any race of people happens with what you first put in your mouth and what you first put in your mind. And with regard to commerce and contracts, if you're eating something contracted from someone else's culture, if you're eating someone else's commerce, if you're eating from someone else's commerce, if you're eating by someone else's commerce, that is the start to the annihilation of your own culture. If you don't eat your own cultural foods, if you don't eat your own cultural substances, minerals, seeds, plants, herbs, all that kind of stuff, if you don't speak your cultural language, you have been indoctrinated into someone else's commerce and into someone else's contracts. And so with being induced into the games, induced into certain societal so-called norms with eating fucking chicken sandwiches and everything else, this is cultural genocide. This is linguistic genocide. This is rape, torture, murder, coercion, and everything else in between. They'll have you celebrate the ownership of a certain aspect of a game when the whole game needs to be disbanded and dismantled and disrupted to the point of non-existence. Our children shouldn't be playing cranium crashing games, and we know it. We know the detriment of bashing a fucking head together against another head. But we have so many proud so-called parents, proud loved ones, and all this other kind of stuff celebrating the fact that every fucking game has a military flyover. Well, those flyovers cost the defense budget a certain amount of money that they sent to propagate propaganda for the so-called American public. And so they want your young boys and they want your young girls to perpetuate this cycle of, yeah, you can go kill somebody else's uncle, brother, son, daughter, mother on somebody else's soil, and they may be possibly related to you depending on if you of the golden race of people. All the while we're gonna bring Taco Bell and McDonald's and motherfucking Popeyes chicken sandwiches and everything else in between with these beans, bullets, and band-aids. And so they have been doing this for years, and we have we have become docile to certain cultures, certain aspects of norms. This is not nature and this is not law. And so we need to honestly, I truly know we need to shut down every single department of commerce in this country that perpetuates a cycle of war, a cycle of poison in your water, your food, your resources, your minerals, that place four burger joints in less than a mile, 18 McDonald's in less than 3-mile radius, motherfucking 18 gas stations on the same road, you know, so on and so forth. Like, I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense how we don't see the structured poisoning game that they have put out for people to consume and eat. They say consumerism. Well, shoot, I mean, this is commerce and contracts, and you are the consumer of the food, the language, the culture, the society of those performing in it. So, you know, if you don't wake up, if you don't rise to knowledge, you know, they'll give you a chicken sandwich because they know you don't want knowledge. They'll give you a motherfucking Bible because they know you don't want knowledge. They'll give you the games and cranium crashing platforms because they know you don't want knowledge. They'll give you song and dance and everything else in between because they know you do not desire knowledge. So you have forgotten the faces of your fathers, you have forgotten the faces of your mothers, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You have forgotten the language of your ancestors. You have forgotten the language of your loved ones, the Ancient of Days. You are the Ancient of Days, being lost, spoken a new language in a old land that's being borrowed by people performing commerce and contracts over you. So until we realize and until we recognize that this land, all of this land is ours, North, South, Central America, and the islands is America. Across the continent of what they would call Africa, Asia Major and Asia Minor, Al-Kibilan, and everything you want to call so-called Middle East and Asia and all of that, that's ours. Everything. Every last piece of earth is ours. So get over the game of I'm from here and I'm from there and you from there. Look, the virus needs to cease. The virus needs to be put out. The virus needs to be killed. The virus needs to be eliminated. Nature will take its due course in eliminating the virus. All we have to do is get out of the fucking way and not perform in commerce and contracts with these devils. Period. So we can no longer stand by and see that our children are getting raped. Our elders are getting abused, our mothers are getting disenfranchised, and our fathers are being coerced everywhere on this fucking earth. And so if we continue in this commerce, then we will continue to culturally commit genocide against our own selves by way of the hand that fed us. So be mindful of what you put in your mouth. Be mindful of what you put in your mind, because that's the first essence of how you either uplift your race or destroy your race. Any race of people. Pay attention to what you put in your mouth and what you put in your mind. With that being said, you know, pay attention to commerce. Pay attention to contracts. Pay attention to what you engage with contract, whether it's, you know, with what you do as far as a profession, whether it's the company that owns your company that you work for. You know, pay attention to the board of directors and what they invest in, what the company is invested in, and what war efforts they so-called support, and what other countries they call allies and friends, what foods they have shipped over here perpetrating as food, and what waters are being poisoned in and around the areas of the places that they don't live, but that they have businesses in, so on and so forth. So, you know, the Amazon is burning. They gave you a chicken sandwich, and guess what? You can own cranium crashing games. It's a fucking distraction, loved ones. It's a distraction. So be in peace and balance and harmony with the song that sings from your verse, and pay attention to the commerce that is most conducive for you. Buy only what you require to buy. Purchase what you only require to purchase. Acquire what you only require to acquire. So on and so forth. But all this other bullshit, all this other stop feeding your children poison. Stop feeding your babies all this toxic bullshit. Stop feeding your children all of this unnecessary language, all this unnecessary culture that is not conducive with their DNA. Stop it now. Because, you know, there's a concerted effort to destroy the earth by someone else's will. So be mindful. Be mindful, loved ones. Just be mindful. I love you because you exist. I love you because you exist. Ashe.